All right, so we've made it to the Broadhurst corals and we're out here with the sailing vessel Sarean.
Yeah.
But we've anchored in a nice little reef hole here, and we're going to use a little drone that we purchased just to check out what's around us, as well as getting some imagery. How did we get the drone, Pascale?
We got the drone thanks to our supporters on Patreon, all those our patrons that have been pledging money to us for each video that we make.
Yep, that's right. So we want to say a big thank you. You might have noticed that the quality is admittedly slowly ratcheting up with our videos, and that's directly as a result of your support, so thank you very much. But should we have a look at what's around us?
Yeah.
Maybe you're thinking, oh no, now we're just going to be subjected to endless drone footage. we promised to keep it to a minimum. But it really is handy for checking out passages in reefs and stuff like that. Obviously this tiny little drone, you know, we're still on a really strict budget. It can't fly in strong winds. But in terms of when it's glassed off and it's very hard to see around, it's a really not a bad addition to the ship's complement. And not just to take pretty images from the sky. Looking at this from the sky, I can see that where we're anchoring here, I can actually see where currents are going to flow and where the boat's going to be dragged and pushed. So that's pretty unique. I'd like to know what our forebears would have thought of having this technology when they were trying to explore the reefs. I know Captain Cook would have been quite pleased. We could actually afford to move our anchor a little bit over to the starboard side there, and it'd put us just damn smack right in the middle of everything. But I'm actually fairly happy with where we are at the moment, where we came in just looking at Polaroids. It actually looks not too bad. But what a nifty tool for yachties that like getting around coral reefs, you know, which is not everyone, I know. It can be a bit nerve-wracking. Well, as extremely reluctant as we were to have that drone on board, I can definitely see a use for it in terms of safety and just exploration of where we're at. It does have some annoying beeps to it.
Yeah, it is a noisy thing.
It's a noisy little thing, isn't it? But yeah, that's it's very interesting. So now we can see where the channels, I'll take these off. Now we can see where the channels are that we'd like to explore with our snorkel. I've got a pretty good idea where there'd be some decent sized wrasse and trout getting around now. So still just as scary as I thought they'd be.
Time for breakfast and then we'll go out snorkeling.
I previously mentioned wanting to shift the anchor. Rather than starting the engine, I figured it would be quicker to take the more direct route. Oftentimes, we find juvenile squid sheltering under the boat. Now, most people think squid release ink to cloud the water, but here you can see the small clouds hold together quite well. The blobs do a very good job of replicating a small squid, forming a decoy to confuse predators. The illusion is strengthened by the squid changing to a very pale and inconspicuous colour.
So we just jumped in for a spearfish because we've been invited over to dinner tonight with the Sarean crew, with Darren and Meg, and Troy's going to show you some of the fish we caught.
Okay, it was a bit of a mixed bag that we took off the reef today. So we'll start with That's a common trout. All right. Small blue dots, quite close together. They're a bit different to a blue spot trout, what we call a blue spot trout. In the blue spots have large dots spaced further apart, and they often have black saddles, or sometimes they'll look like what we call a footballer trout. It's the same thing, but it's a different colour form. They've got bright yellow lips. They like a trout with bright yellow. And also I want to say a really good shot to aim for when you're shooting with a spear gun is where this gill flap terminates up here. Whack. You shoot them straight through there and you'll always hit the spine. Anywhere that you hit around there is going to stop the fish. So that's a really good spot to aim for. So there's a trout. That's not too bad. That's under the ciguatera size. Oh look.
Sarean's joined us.
Sarean's joining us in the anchorage. Alright, fish number 2, the sun's moved, so we've had to reposition.
And we've got Sarean putting their anchor down.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is another great fish to shoot if you're in Queensland waters. A lot of people don't bother, but you won't get any ciguatera with these guys. Alright, parrotfish. The ones that I like are these green coloration, and this one's still quite young, so it's got only a gentle hump, but as they get older, the front is just like a bus. Right? So if you see, not really big, if you see really great big ones that look like dinosaurs, well, you're not going to shoot them anyway, they're massive. But they're a different type, but this bright green with a nice little hump on his head, they are really good eating. And again, you can see that this shot, I was talking about shooting at the junction of the gill. This one's just a bit forward, bam, that's a brain shot. The brain's actually up here a bit, but the shock of it going through was enough to knock this guy out. Alright, and fish number 3, people call these a permit or a snub-nosed dart. This one, he actually, I think a shark or something like this had a bit of a go at him. Look, he's missing the top of his tail. I saw this fish all by itself, and normally they're a schooling fish, and he was actually investigating me to see if I was good company to keep, and I'm plainly not. So yeah, this guy's very, they're pretty similar to trevally, so I got this one so we could have namas, because we haven't had namas for a while. And that's, again, that was the shot that I'm talking about, up at the top of the gill, blam, right in the head. And because we're diving near a drop off, so I did want to keep the sharks to a minimum, so all of the fish sort of got it in the neck, didn't they, Pascale? Mm. Anyway, so that's the other thing. So oyster cracker, snub-nosed dart, permit, whatever you like to call it. I don't know if they're amazing eating if you have to keep them for some time, but if you eat them fresh, and particularly if you make pickled fish out of them, they're pretty good.
So Troy's filleted up all that fish. I've got the permit here, I haven't put it in the fridge yet because I'm going to put it straight into namas jars. So I'm doing 2 flavours, and I've already prepped up the ingredients to go in each of the jars for the flavours, and I'll show you them now.
What flavours? Tell me more.
We're having this one here. This one is chili, coriander stem, salt, sugar and onion. And this one is a honey mustard, and it's onions, Dijon mustard, mustard seeds and honey and a bit of salt.
That probably smells almost as good as this bleach.
You're having a cockpit cleanse.
I love the smell of bleach in the afternoon.
Yeah, so that's it. Each of the jars has half an onion in it, and then it's got the flavours as you want. And so I'm just going to mix in, I'm going to fill the jar halfway with vinegar and stir it all around, and then I'll add the cut up chunks of fish to it, and that should work just fine. And then just top it up with any more vinegar if it's not, the fish isn't completely covered. There's our finished products. We've got honey and mustard namas.
Yes.
And coriander and chili namas.
That one, hopefully it tastes as good as it looks. That looks terrific.
Fresh this one looks, eh?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's us sorted for a few days for snacks. We love this stuff.
Yum.
And it's a good way to put your permit, to cook your permit in vinegar.
Have we got enough cheese to eat it with, is the question?
We've got a little bit of cheese left over from Maggie Island, so yeah.
Islander roll mops.
Pickled fish and cheese.
Beautiful.
Our lift has arrived.
keep walking away. Red rocks in my way. Why you lead me astray? Night turns to day.
All right, here we are on the Sarean, and I'm looking around and I see what life could be. Look at this, got a big comfy cockpit, and this is Darren. What's the scoop, mate? What is she?
She's a Bowman 47. She's an Australian built vessel, built in Perth.
We love our Australian built vessels.
We love Australian stuff. It's good stuff, and although the hull it's originated out of the UK.
Oh, all right. Yeah, right. So what's underwater? Is she fin keel, full keel?
It's sort of it's probably not quite a 3/4 keel. It's a longish sort of half keel, and
cut away to a skeet hung rudder.
Yeah.
That sounds all good.
That really works well for, you know, I'd imagine back in the old days it would have been considered probably some sort of race cruiser.
Judging by how much you beat us here to this reef, I'm considering it a race cruiser. we left earlier than these guys, and we did a bad thing actually. We got out of the wind shadow of Maggie Island and just sort of poodled around. I thought, I'm going to sail. So we're only doing like 1.5, 2 knots because there was no wind into the east, and we got knocked hell west and crooked north. And these guys did the smart thing. What, you left about midnight, did you?
Yeah, it was about midnight, 1 o'clock or something. I thought, I'm not going to leave until it comes around to the south, because I knew other than the east in it would be going north.
You'd be doing what we did.
Yeah.
That's age and cunning beats youth and beauty again.
Yeah. Well,
so our track was sort of like up, 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 and then a series of zigzags, but you guys just...
Yeah, well, we knew it would be pretty hard to weather anyway, and it was. But eventually it come around east and we ended up going north. But yeah, there was a lot less work involved, that's for sure.
You guys averaged, what, 7 knots for most of it, I think, until you...
There was a lot of tide out there actually. We were having a lot of trouble getting boat speed. The log speed was really great.
Right, that's what we found too.
We did have a top of 7.8, I think.
Yeah.
On the log. Yeah. But actually, I doubt whether it would have went anywhere near that on the.
When we started out, we were really dragging along, and then once we got sort of off Cape Bowling Green, we were hooting.
Yeah, and that's when the tide. I mean, the tide would have shifted, would have put you on that line nicely. Yeah. Because it shifted for us, and we were parallel with our track, and we were going along. And I went to bed, and we were doing 5 knots, hard to weather. So that's pretty good from a rule. Yeah. You guys would have been doing better with your line, but yeah, our track average, I think, was 3.56 knots.
It's really bad.
So it was murder. We don't have a log through the water. We don't have a paddle wheel, so I can't compare. Yeah. I think that would annoy me if I had it. If I was like, we're doing 6 knots, we can't possibly be doing 3 knots.
Yeah.
I just rant and rave and tell Roral that I'm going to sell her.
Yeah, we got so frustrated we didn't do any filming with the whole sail.
Did you?
No, I was so frustrated.
Yeah, I never even actually thought about filming.
I did at the end, filmmaker. And I was like, no, we're grumpy, I'm not filming. Even though it's probably good viewing. Thank you for tuning into Free Range Sailing. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, as it really helps get our video out to more viewers. If you'd like to keep track of us in real time, there is links in the description to our Facebook and Instagram page, as well as loads of other great information that you might find useful.